Guys, BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA finals is happening right now, NHL playoffs, stats, all the latest stats, news, and scores from all of your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props. Caro, you know I love a real dirty player prop. Like he's going to have 2 turnovers, some random bench guy, and odds on about every sport you could think of. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Yeah, you can gamble from your phone. Life is amazing. What a country. BetOnline is where the game starts. Man of the year. Man of the year. Man of the year. Welcome to the number one friendship podcast in the country. I'm Matt Ritter.
I'm Aaron Caro.
Guys, go to manoftheyearpodcast.com. Buy a little bit of merch. I want to see more people walking the streets with the We Should Be Friends merch. Check out our YouTube page. We've had some viral shorts blowing up there. Caro, speaking of sports from the ads, I got to say, I know we're both Knicks fans, but something happened this year that I think transcended basketball and transcended sports, and I've been itching to talk about it, and you finally let me talk about it after the Knicks season is over. I want to talk about the friendship between Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo. For those of you who don't know who they are, those are the Knicks starting players. Jalen Brunson's their superstar. Great story. A guy who's barely 6 feet. How tall do you think Jalen Brunson really is?
In real life?
In real life. He's listed at 6'1". What do you call yourself? What do you call yourself?
I call myself, depending on the, I'm hitting 5'8".
Okay, so exactly. So if you're 5'8", Jalen Brunson 6'1",
6'7".
Right. So in real life, Jalen Brunson, I think, is 5'10".
Okay. In real life, you think he's 5'8"?
5'10".
Okay.
And he's one of the best players in the NBA. He finished 5th, I think, in MVP. But what's interesting about these guys is they all went to Villanova together. They were actually roommates in college. Somehow they ended up on the same team. And they've been doing something that nobody really has done before. I can't recall. You tell me if you can recall a time where they've been so open and vulnerable about their friendship.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I just don't think we've had a time where men have been open and vulnerable about their friendship in general.
Right. I guess that's true, right? I mean, but it's hard, right? It's hard to know how close these guys were in the old days, right? Because we know the Lakers partied after games together.
Right. Yeah.
A little too much, except for AC Green, because he was a virgin. And we do know, I will say this, I'll say probably the closest that we know about any pair of guys is the guys who swapped families.
Oh, the Yankees. Yeah.
I mean, those guys must have been pretty tight.
Or the opposite. Just for our listeners who are, older than or younger than 40, these Yankees pitchers in the 70s swapped their entire families, their kids and their wives, which, is that even legal? Like,
I don't know, but his name was Fritz Peterson and his teammate was Mike Kekich. Traded wives. And it turns out only one of the couples were happy about it.
Wow.
Obviously, they were the ones who were pushing for it, right?
Right.
Wow, the arrangement was called off for a week. Oh my God.
It's funny because we have not talked about teammates, which is kind of crazy because we're sports fans. But I feel like when you talk about friendships in sports recently, or not recently, the past decade or two, it's sort of been cross team, like how they're more buddy than they used. Like Michael Jordan hated everybody.
Right. Like Isaiah, these guys were sworn enemies. Right now they're like, oh, I can't believe they have dinner when they're visiting Minnesota alone. Right. Which is so funny. Like, you expect some player who doesn't know anybody and is one of his best friends, presumably from college or whatever, lives in Minnesota, and you expect because he plays sports, he's not supposed to see his friend. There is something funny that I never even really thought of about this. That, if you take it out of sports, because when you're a kid, you don't even realize these are just regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And so this idea that they're supposed to behave according to a separate rule of life is just so silly.
I mean, they're your, I mean, is the CEO of, Kellogg's hobnobbing with the CEO of CW Post? I just watched the Seinfeld Pop-Tarts movie. So,
I don't
like,
know,
yeah,
but I think so. I mean, look, it depends. I guess it's industry specific because I do think, like, look, I worked in Big Law. Certainly, you had a lot of friends at other firms because you all went to law school together. And
right.
certainly, if you went to another city, there's nothing untoward about you going, oh, I'm actually having lunch with this Skadden guy,
Mm-hmm.
although it could be looked at, it could be frowned upon. Oh, he might be leaving.
Right.
But so, yeah, I think we're in an era now, right? The soft era where you're right. It's like there was a lot of cross team friendships, but these guys are teammates. I think it's really refreshing. I think obviously it helps that the Knicks are winning. Like, I think, was it the Wall Street Journal or Times that wrote like that the friendship was helping their success?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously I like that because it feeds into a theory that I had, is that we were getting it all wrong. I have this theory that most men, just to reiterate, thought that to be successful / content in life, you get married, get a good job, make a lot of money, buy a house, start a family, and therefore you'll be content. And didn't realize that friendship was not in that equation. But my theory is that people who have friendship in the equation, it makes it a lot easier to have all those other things.
By the way, Matt, I just want to make sure, did you see what I'm wearing?
Oh my God. I can't believe that. Like, didn't even know. Of course I didn't notice that for the first 10 minutes.
So I am, for those watching us on YouTube, I am wearing a Knicks shirt. It's interesting. Sports is a very specific example because I'd imagine if you are like, how you and I are simpatico on a sort of a molecular level. Well, now imagine I'm passing you a ball and you're not even looking.
Right.
I'm presuming it would be helpful.
Right. Some sort of telepathic, you're talking about our instinctual.
Yeah. I mean, like, where I like to go on
Yeah,
the floor.
right, exactly. Like, I know when I go to a party, I know how Kara wants to interact. I know where to position Kara on the field of a social outing.
But
Kara knows where to throw me at the front.
Yeah, I'm like
the guy, first line, the infantry. I'm the infantry.
But you don't think we call you cannon fodder?
Cannon fodder.
Yeah, you'd actually be. I love watching those like war movies, even like Lord of the Rings type of things, where like 10,000 people charge.
Oh yeah.
You think you'd be at the front with the flag, killed immediately?
So first off, I think I'd be one of those warrior kings who goes to the front, like do it right. But yeah, probably killed early on.
Yeah,
because I lose a contact lens. Something dumb, or like I forgot my contacts. Something I forgot, or like I just literally forgot my sword. Like I reached down to go grab my sword and it's like, oh, I left it at home. I was on the toilet. I left it in the bathroom.
I mean, if you were in a Braveheart type or Lord of the Rings type fight, 100%, you'd go charging. You'd be like, oh shit. And then an orc would just slaughter.
No, yeah, like the immediate comedic kill.
Yeah.
They're really fun. Anyway, so let's get back to the
hold on. I want to ask you about sports. So, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate. These guys are practicing 12 hours a day for 10 months. I bet you Jalen can make that same pass to the guy he's not friends with. Like, does it really make any difference?
Well, so here's the counter. Shaq and Kobe absolutely loathed each other.
Right.
Loathed.
And they were still great.
They won 3 championships in a row.
Yeah.
The history is littered with stories like that. So I think we don't know, right? It's all speculative. We want to believe that friendship matters in sports. I would like to believe it. It's nice. It's a nice little fantasy, but I think I care about this story more because of the way that these guys are being open and vulnerable about their friendship and just showing they're modeling great friendship.
Can you give an example of their being vulnerable?
So Josh Hart is kind of like the jerk of the crew, and he like gets under their skin and they like have this thing like where like they talk shit to each other a lot and they like talk about how the things that annoy each other about each other, but they say I love you a lot and are really sweet to each other in a way that you just don't see. You've never seen this before. And they have a podcast together. They just did this really cute thing where Lexus sponsored them to go out on a day off. I don't know if you saw, I sent it to you.
Yeah, I did.
And they went and like made Italian subs together. And they talked about, I thought this was great. They talked about how their wives get annoyed by their friendship.
Okay.
They're so close. They talk to each other so much that the wives are like, one of the wives is like, oh, you have to see him again? You just saw him 4 days in a row.
So it's kind of the opposite of us, who we podcast and talk all day long, and then we never want to see each other. They want more.
They want more. They want more. There's something so genuine about it, which is like they don't pretend to be anything they're not. And if they do what real close, like historic friends do. They call them out. Like, I know who you are.
Right. We always say old friends help you grow, not change, which you don't even like that phrase, but I'm still pushing it.
It's growing on you. It's growing on you.
It's growing on you. I'm going to do another devil's advocate. Is there any way that it could be negative? Like, what if?
We're thinking about that.
Yeah.
Clicky.
Right.
You know, we're talking about work. Like, if you want to just open this up to the workplace, like, I always think it's great to have best friends at work. We've seen study after study, blah, blah, blah. I think the downside is if you have a team, like, it's different from work because the basketball team is clearly like a unit. There's a starting lineup. There's 12 people. There's 5 people on the court. If somebody feels that you and one other guy have this telepathy and you're like playing favorites, that can definitely cause problems. Or in the locker room, if they're all hanging out and you just kind of feel like you're an outsider, that can cause it.
Never really thought of cliques in the scheme of a team.
Yeah,
because
I know. I was thinking about this for this episode. I was like, I wonder what the other Knicks who are not like Julius Randle is a superstar, but he didn't go to Villanova, and these guys are all like huggy, and Julius Randle's not like that. Like personality-wise, he doesn't seem like the same level of affection as those guys. He's a little surly. So I do wonder how that rubs him.
Who is it? Jalen's the captain.
I don't know that they have a captain. It's funny. You know, you never hear about captains in basketball anymore.
Oh, yeah. Are there captains?
There used to be. I think there are. There used to be. They just don't really talk about it very much.
Do they ever have a C on the thing? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was great about their friendship, which I wanted to talk about, modeling. So I want to put this clip in somehow on a short on our YouTube page or on our Instagram page. When Jalen Brunson found out that the Knicks traded for Josh Hart, he was at a retirement ceremony for his jersey at Villanova, and somebody showed him the phone. They handed him a phone, and he found out, and he had like the most authentic, loving reaction. He was like, "Holy S, we got Josh Hart." And that was like what every friend wants to hear their friend say, like if your friend ended up getting hired at your company or something.
Do you think they traded for him because they were friends?
Well, that's a whole other can of worms. So Jalen Brunson's a star that has to be catered to. He had one of the first documented cases, I think, of reverse nepotism.
Wait, hold on. Reverse nepotism, where you sort of get pushed back because you're a son of somebody.
No, they hired his dad. Is that reverse nepotism?
No, that's just nepotism.
Okay, I always think of nepotism as like downward, though.
Top down. Okay,
top
wait.
Down.
So they hire. I'm just thinking of another example. They hire Tom Cruise's dad to be the producer.
It actually probably does happen a lot. I think like De Niro's dad gets like a lot of art stuff or something.
Yeah.
There is probably a lot of that. Like my dad gets a piece on this thing. But I just thought it was funny when the Knicks were pursuing Jalen Brunson in free agency. They were like, "Oh, and we just happened to randomly hire his dad to be our new assistant coach."
Oh, got it. Yeah. And
by the way, we hired a GM who was his former agent.
Well, what do you think about trying to draft. I know I don't want to get too off topic. Draft LeBron's son to try to get LeBron.
Oh, everybody's thinking about that now. He averaged 4 points a game and he's declaring the NBA draft. Never before has a lottery pick had such a bad future ahead of him.
But you think it's worth it?
Yeah, for a lot of markets. Yeah, I mean, I think just like it's going to be LeBron's farewell tour. It's going to sell out if you're a team that doesn't sell out. Or yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits to saying you have LeBron on your team.
Yeah, but LeBron's still got gas in the tank.
Oh, he's also good, but I don't think he fits into what a lot of teams are doing anymore.
So what if the Knicks
for $50 million to shove somebody in?
So you wouldn't want the Knicks to do it?
No.
Okay.
And he wouldn't be one of those guys.
Say again?
He would break up our Villanova party.
I don't know. I feel like he's such like a wise.
No, he is wise. He would listen. He would help any team, but he's cost $50 million. It would
right.
So back to the basketball friendship. So I wanted to just talk about like what sort of we could glean from this. I thought it was a cool story, but I also just wanted to open up to like what could be gleaned, from the way that these guys interact with each other. I think there's something about masculinity to be talked about.
Well, I love that, like what you said before, they're modeling this behavior. Obviously, there's a lot of young, basketball fans who are watching this and being like, oh, I can be open and intimate and vulnerable with my buddies. I love that. I love that they're working together. Now, again, when you think of work friends, you think of, okay, you're at your law firm. You meet Jimmy in the next cubicle. You're working on a case together. You became buddies. This is almost the reverse, and that I guess they became friends because they were on a team in Villanova, but they're friends first. It's almost like you hire me to work in your law firm, but we're already boys.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I would be excited by that. I think people should be excited. I think sometimes people feel threatened by their friends joining their company, their team, entering their sphere that was theirs. And I think Jalen had the right reaction, which is like, I'm so overjoyed to get to spend more quality time with my friend.
But it's interesting, though. He's the superstar. You have to know your role.
And they all kind of do.
Did the other two start?
Yeah. But what's interesting is, even though he's a superstar, I think what you're talking about a little bit, your friends are there to make you grow, not change. A guy comes to New York. He was a second-round draft pick. He's always been undersized. He's always been underestimated. He got, this huge contract that everybody said was too much. And now he's fifth in the league in MVP. I want to say maybe, look, he seems like he's a great guy and he's had a great family rooting him and grounding him, but maybe there is something to the fact that however big New York wants to put his head, it can't happen with these two guys shitting on him at every time.
Yes. I love that. I
love what Josh Hart is doing to keep Jalen Brunson grounded as the biggest star and the most beloved person walking the streets of New York today. Like, he's never going to buy a meal ever again in New York, but Josh Hart is still making him feel like, the guy who threw up in the backseat of a cab when they were in Villanova.
Yeah. I mean, keeping him grounded, keeping him humble, not getting swept up. Or maybe that's the nail. You hit the nail on the head, is that like keeping you sort of in check. Otherwise you're surrounded by yes men, yes people, yes women.
Right. Especially like, hey, look, this whole team was catered to him.
Right.
Literally.
He wouldn't be. I wouldn't sort of put it past him to have it go to his head. I mean,
they built a team around you. They brought in your two best friends. They brought your dad in, your former agent. Like, everything is set up for you to have a huge ego.
Yeah. I mean, it's a power of friendship, man.
The power of friendship. Take a listener question?
Yeah, let's take a listener question. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, this is Asking for a Friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we will answer on the show. Matt, what do we got?
So this is a question I got a while ago, and I've been waiting to figure out an episode to get it in because it was sports related and we hadn't done anything in sports. also something I've been pondering. So I really want your take on this because it's something like I have already resigned myself to. I'll just get to the question.
Okay.
Hey, Matt and Caro, love the pod. I have a friendship that mostly revolves around my basketball league. We've been playing once a week for a few years now, and it's led to after game drinks, food, etc., but never really a full-blown independent friendship. I'm starting to feel the wear of my age, parenthetical 48, and I'm thinking of hanging up the jersey for good, but I fear I'm going to lose the friends I've made. I know they still like me, but I don't see how we get together as frequently or at all if I'm not there every Saturday morning. Should I just keep grinding it out, even though my body is telling me I can't do it much longer?
First of all, great question. I can't believe we've never touched on this before. Also, I read somewhere, maybe I made it up, maybe it's Matt GPT, that like basketball is the number one cause of injuries of middle-aged men or something.
So, Jess made me quit like 6 years ago. I read this question and I was feeling a pang of regret because, I was in a league with like Stein and those guys, like a writers league.
Yeah.
Fairfax, but I guess it was partly when I moved away from West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And like, I never, they were never really my buddies, but at least I like had people that I saw and I liked playing basketball, but I broke, just too many fingers. I hate the guy who throws the ball. Can we just give a moment of shame for the guy that fires passes too hard? Who are you? Who raised you? Why do you throw the ball across court so hard at people? Like, wouldn't you watch too many Jason Kidd highlights and Magic Johnson highlights? Like, nobody cares. They just don't want to sprain or break a finger.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, you got to sort of, what's it called? You got to sort of know the context of this league. Like, how crazy is this league?
Right. Yeah. We're talking about that guy, right? We're still talking about the pass.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes. Like, know the context.
You know what's safe? Give me a nice bounce pass.
So if I want to summarize this. So this guy plays a pickup league every week with his boys. With friends that he likes, and they'll get a beer after, they'll hang out, but it's basically contained in this pickup league.
Right.
Pickup league ends, he's probably not going to see them.
Right.
Well, first of all, I mean, I just love the fact that he's in this league with his buddies, and it just sounds like really healthy and great. And I know.
I actually felt a pang for this guy right here because I know that I don't really talk to any of the guys in my league. I just want to say that off the bat.
Yeah. I think he's got to do, just like you said, a LeBron-esque farewell season. So do one more season. But but in that season, he needs to start leveling up a little bit, which is like, let's do something on a Wednesday. Let's go to dinner. Let's do something that's not basketball related.
The LeBron farewell tour.
Yeah.
Hero.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't paid you enough compliments lately. This may have been the most precise, nailed it answer I've heard.
Wow.
I mean, like, I was racking my brain. I'm like, man, maybe he should never quit, Like, whatever, knees be damned.
Now, within the tour, you've got to be intentional. Like, if you just said to the buddies, hey, this is my last season, they might be like, cool, man, this is going to be great, and not do anything. So you got to be the friend a little bit.
Right. So he should lead the lunches because, I've been in those leagues where it's very ad hoc about when you get the beer, when you don't. Because sometimes people have things, kids, soccer, whatever. And so it's always just haphazard. Like, hey, anyone want to get, it's not very usually that organized anyway. So I think he's going to have to go above and beyond what you're talking about of hey guys, it's my last season. I'd love to kind of do this. But then what you're saying on top of that is pick out the friends you really want to maintain a friendship with and take it out of the league.
Yes. I mean, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about picking out the friends because there's only 4. I mean, I don't know how many there are, but I would just say yes.
Probably, I don't know. It's got to be at least half a dozen.
Oh yeah. Okay. But I'm saying forget about the ad hoc beers after. This has got to be untethered to basketball.
Okay. But that's tough without the intermediate step.
Well, no, but they're already doing the intermediate step.
All right. Okay. But I'm saying you proposed it at the hangout, right?
Oh, I mean, I imagine they're to have a text
Right.
chain or
Maybe.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like
He
it's
didn't
got to
say.
be
He didn't say. I assume they do for the league.
right. If he's been doing it for years, I would say, hey, let's get together, watch this game. You maybe keep it basketball adjacent. Let's watch this game, but it's not after the game. Second thing I came to, he's 48. I don't know if he has a partner. Let's get the partners involved. Like my wife wants to meet your wife. Like let's do a couples thing. Easy peasy.
I like what you're saying, but I have a lot of empathy for him because there is this sort of loss as we go through life of certain things, and one of them is like physical.
Yeah,
we're just as you get older, the body breaks down, and you're just not. At some point, you're just not playing out on the streets. You're just not on these streets every weekend going, I got next, and those are what I talk about on the pod a lot is how lucky we are growing up where friendship is everywhere. Friends, people, acquaintances abound. And as you get older, those opportunities organically shrink. So we got to put in the effort. And now, unfortunately, he's going to have to self-shrink it. Now, here's another one. Maybe you got to pick up another sport. Pickleball is huge, whatever. I mean, maybe there are some other guys in there that are feeling the weight of that too.
If he picks up another sport and he's make a whole new set of friends, which is good. But I want him to keep these. These sound like good guys.
Yeah, they do.
It does kind of remind me. Of my own experience.
It's scary a little bit to like. I want to say it's scarier than we're making it out. I know that sounds silly to be 48 and say this is scary. I want to say to our listener, it is scary to try to suddenly level up a friendship that has sort of just been related to this sporting activity for a long time.
It reminds me a little bit of CrossFit. I did CrossFit every day. And then when I stopped doing it, I didn't really see those guys. And we have hung out socially. It's not quite the same as it used to be. It's funny. One guy goes back now to the gym and he's made no new friends. He just sits in the corner by himself.
You can't recapture the magic sometimes. No. That's the other thing. You all just go into another league and you're like, where's Jimmy? Where's Bobby? Where's my Cairo? They're like, they don't all have that,
Can I ask you this in a sort of a what's it called? A hypothetical. It's not going to help our listener. But this guy's been in this league for X amount of years. This should have happened already.
Right. But we're not going to.
No, I'm not talking shit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, I agree. I mean, that's one of our principles is like you want to take it out of the thing, out of your third place as early as you can because the feelings, those initial feelings are strong. It's like the dating stuff. Right. It's a little hotter and heavier about I want to get to know these guys. Now you're kind of like, yeah, I know this guy. I kind of know him, whatever. We obviously both agreed that we're not friends beyond that, or we would have made a move before.
You got to take him to the fourth place, which is like when you're just a buddy who transcends places. You're just an actual friend.
Can I suggest something?
Yes.
Not just the LeBron farewell tour. Why don't you have a barbecue at your house at the end or something?
Yeah, I mean, 100%, of course.
And invite the wives and partners and spouses and husbands and whoever.
But I want to do that. It's too late if it's at the end of the season.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. No, I'm saying in addition to everything you said.
Right. Also, is there a trophy in this league?
Right.
Ooh, I have an idea. Maybe not. What if he comes back as a coach?
That's the dumbest idea.
Oh, you went from I don't compliment you enough to
he's going to give up his weekends to coach these guys.
I don't know. I mean,
at a pickup league.
Is there coaching in pickup league?
I take it back. Maybe it's romantic, and I'm the jerk.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, that was cruel.
No, it's all good. No reason he can't still go and watch or hang out or.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
I don't see that. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Also like we don't know if he has kids, but like maybe the kids play in a pickup league, brings the kids, whatever.
Yeah. I think you answered it with the LeBron farewell tour.
By the way, this just reminded me, Matt, this is of a family lore. So my dad had a softball league. They played at the Jamaica Avenue Park, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And I think it was well, I guess all softball's underhand. I don't know what it was, but whatever. It was playing.
Probably softball underhanded. For whatever reason, I thought that was women's softball is underhanded. Is it always underhanded?
I don't think you throw a softball overhand. I think it's always underhanded.
Underhanded.
And so my dad tells a story. I don't know if I was there. But his last game. So he was this guy. He was in his 40s. Softball. This was a league with like uniforms and stuff. And his last at bat ever. And he cracks one. Like into right field. And he is hustling. He's got a stand-up triple. And he's like, I could hit inside the park home run on my final at bat. The third base coach, who's his buddy, holds him up. They have
a third base coach?
This was like more of like an old person's league or something. Not an old person's league.
This is blowing my mind. A softball league with a third base coach.
Yeah, third. But it was a guy. It was just a guy, one of the other guys. Yeah. Like one of the other players. It wasn't And he held him up, and my dad like never forgave him.
He gave him this.
He gave him.
I love when they go like this. I love this. This is one of my favorite motions in all of sports. If you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, you can see me doing the rotator cuff tear move where you just
sending a guy home. But now we say, and Dad says, we'll admit, like the guy was like, Al, like you were gonna die. Like you weren't gonna make it. You weren't gonna make it. Like I saved your life.
There's something so funny about him being hung up on that.
Well, my dad, but yeah. So he had his career in a stand-up triple, and that's fine.
How far around the base did he get? Do we know?
That I don't know.
Because I love when they go so far that the guy holds them up, and then they have to dive back into third, and then sometimes they get caught on third, and it's like, well, you should have just gone. If your momentum's already carrying you.
I may be conflating like different leagues, but he did have a league where if you were like, I have to ask him, it was like if you were over 45 and Jewish, you could overrun second base.
By the way, is there anything sexier than a woman who fires in like a 98-mile-an-hour underhanded softball?
Like Jenny Finch?
Oh my God. Woo! Put that on my put that on my TikTok feed.
I mean, have you been following the new crop of WNBA players?
Of course. Come on.
That 7 foot. She threw out the first pitch at the Dodger Stadium.
She's unbelievable. It's almost unfair. She's like the Wilt Chamberlain of her league.
Because she's so tall.
Yeah, but she's also like skilled. Yeah,
that's the new thing. Now basketball players can be 7 feet tall, shoot from half court. It's insane.
Yeah.
Paige,
I was at the All-Star game where Caitlin took on Steph, and I have to tell you, oh, by the way, her name is Cardosa, Camila Cardosa.
No, that's not who I'm talking about.
No, you're talking about the tallest one, the 7-footer?
No, her name is Paige something. She just got drafted.
Oh, well, Camila Cardosa is great too.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Caitlin Clark who was in the 3-point contest. It was a different woman.
No, Caitlin Clark took on Steph Curry.
Oh, I thought it was a different. You sure?
It was Caitlin Clark, and she
almost
beat him. He literally had to hit the last shot to beat her.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I saw like all of the All-Star game crowd, which was mostly male, just like really clock into what the WNBA is doing.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
This is I don't know if this is controversial or not, but when there was all this hullabaloo that Caitlin Clark's salary is like $70,000.
It's pretty damn funny.
But it's not that it's funny, it's that listen, I've watched more women's college basketball than I have men's. Yeah. But the WNBA just makes less money than NBA.
No, I know, obviously. Listen, we don't have to get into that. I think it's I agree, like from a financial perspective, you can't pay what you don't have. But the argument, rightly or wrongly, is that there hasn't been support to build out, and now you're seeing.
Right.
Look at how much. I mean, if you say this, look at how much the teams are going for. Like a team went for like $5 million, and then recently 25, and then 55, and now they're saying 3 teams are going to go for over 100. So the same argument could have been made about NBA players in like the 50s and 60s, where these guys were like Hall of Famers who never even made enough to like last a lifetime.
Yeah, just be clear. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm just saying the math has to add up.
Right. But I think, you could point to how valuable the league has gotten to say, hey, they need to get some of this upside. Right. If these TV rights and these league things are so valuable. But I agree. You can't compare it to the men's basketball, which, makes $100 billion.
Right. Yeah. All right. Pay the women.
Yeah. R.I.P. Izzy. My dad was the biggest WNBA fan from like 20 years ago.
What?
Yeah. My buddy Jeff really always laughs about how my dad was the only person he ever talked to like decades ago who was boasting about how great the WNBA was.
Wow. I never knew that about your dad.
Yeah. He was way ahead of the curve on that. Yeah.
Did we answer the question?
Yeah. The LeBron tour.
Okay. Guys, that was asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram. We will answer it on the show. Matt, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No.
What did we learn today?
I think we learned that it's nice to have your friends around in the workplace. It's nice to play sports with your friends. It's nice to see a great role model group of friends in sports. Everybody is drawn to it, actually. So that should say something to other people like, hey, show emotion, show your friends you care about them. If you have a friend on a team, show them real love, real affection. Be your authentic self around your friend. Don't put on a separate like helmet around it with your friend when you go check in.
Yeah, and I learned that I'm very excited for next season of Knicks basketball. We're gonna have a great team, and I'm very excited for this season of the WNBA.
Love it,
Matt. Who's our sponsor today?
Oh my God, Bet Online, baby! It's our presenting sponsor, guys. Bet Online, it's where the game starts.
Love it. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to your friends. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.